Greetings and salutations, everybody. Andy White here, and I am doing somewhat of an impromptu YouTube live broadcast, and open up the door supplemental broadcast on the Great Reset. I'm just going to wait a few minutes to see if anybody joins in. I didn't advertise this or promote it. In some ways, this is sort of a test, testing out new software, trying to work out some bugs for my home studio. You know, most of the time I'm recording and doing my broadcast from the FM station on Faith FM. But I want to do more at home stuff, so I've been setting stuff up and trying to work out some bugs in the software and whatnot. So I don't know if anybody's going to join in, but we'll see if notifications went out. And if you want to chat with me, the chat room is open. You could go over there and shoot me some chats here. And I'll get into a couple of things in a second here I'm just trying to see who's coming on board here. Hi, folks. Anybody there? I see Debbie Whitmer there. Marsha's there. Praise God. We'll see if anybody else joins in. In the meantime, I should have brought myself a glass of water. I could use some water. Marsha, if you're there, please bring me down some water. Anyway, before I get into some of the things I want to share going on with the topic of the Great Reset that I've been talking about the last few weeks on the Open Up the Doors broadcast, I want to mention a couple of things. Number one, if you've never subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and just look up Andy White Open Up the Doors and hit that subscription button. And there's a little bell next to the subscription button. If you hit that, you will get notifications stating when I am live or when we've uploaded videos to my YouTube channel. We want the YouTube channel to be a place of resource for people, so all of the Open Up the Doors broadcasts are archived there, as well as other productions that people like to. I'm hearing somebody groaning.
Stepped on water.
Oh,
The cat.
my wife is bringing me a glass of water. Thank you, dear. Thank you. And she stepped on something.
The cat
Salute.
knocked over his water. Oh, it's all over the place.
We're doing a very casual, impromptu session here on the Open Up the Door supplemental. Anyway, where was I? Talking about subscribing to my YouTube channel. Please do that. Hit the little bell. You'll get notifications. Also, we're on Rumble, another video platform. We've been migrating the videos over there. We've been uploading all the new videos over to Rumble, waiting for the day when they offer a live streaming function over there on Rumble. But if you never subscribe to my Rumble channel, please subscribe to my Rumble channel as well. And I'm going to share one more thing with you. I'm on a brand new social media site called ConnectZing.com. ConnectZing.com is set up by two patriots, two former Navy SEAL guys. It's censorship free, and it's set up to navigate and to look a lot like Facebook, except you don't get the censorship at all. You don't get the flagging, the annoying fact-checking flagging that you get over on Facebook. And they won't be taken down like Parler was, because they have their own infrastructure and their own servers. So I really want to begin, and I'm going to begin to promote the new social media platform called ConnectZing. You can find me there, Andy White, and I also started up a brand new Open Up the Doors group page over on ConnectZing.com. It works just like the group pages on Facebook. You can join the group page and you could freely share to the page as you want to share, things that you'd like to share. So check it out. It's really worth it. It's really brand new. So you're not going to get the traffic and the numbers that you get with Facebook, obviously, because it's a new platform. But it's worth investing in for the future, because we all know that Facebook is shutting groups down. Facebook is censoring conservatives and Christians more and more. A lot of people have moved over to MeWe, something I never did. I just didn't feel really any kind of compunction to go over to MeWe, but I found out now that they're starting to censor as well. They're taking down patriot groups, and they're taking down comments relating to the the Save America rallies and the pro-Trump rallies that happened during the election and up to January 6th. And I don't want to digress down that bunny trail, but even MeWe is starting to censor now. So check out ConnectZing, one word, ConnectZing.com. You'll really like it if you give it a chance. You know, it's really hard. I know it is, because we've been on Facebook for years. Some of us, especially in some of these groups, you've got thousands of people. The gravitational pull of Facebook is really, really tough. I mean, in the last week, I've had a good number of people subscribe and join over at ConnectZing.com. They subscribe, they join that first day, but then they don't come back because of that gravitational pull on Facebook. So we got some habits we got to break out of, because, folks, it doesn't matter if you've got 10,000 or 5,000 or 50,000 people in your group on Facebook. If they shut it down, it's gone tomorrow. So it might be a little bit of what's the word I want to use? A little bit hard in the beginning to start fresh, but I think we have to. We need to stay connected. We need to stay networked. These tech companies are shutting down conservative and Christian speech. And we got to find other avenues and other modes of staying connected. So that's really, I heard somebody say the other day, oh man, another social media, I'm on this, I'm on that, I'm on this. Yeah, but again, a lot of those other companies are shutting us down. We need to find a place where we can, I don't want to say feel safe and secure. We're not going to be safe and secure in this world. But I think you know what I mean. A place where we can go and we can stay networked together, even if we got to build it back from the floor up. All right, so enough with that. I do want to get into just sharing some things that I can't normally share on the radio show, like videos. I want to play some videos for you that I play the audio clips. I always play the audio clips, but sometimes watching the video is so much better. And I played this audio clip last week on my broadcast, but I want you to see the video because it's really intriguing. And then I'll have some things to say afterwards.
It's a very pertinent question to ask, how do we build back better?
To build back better or whatever.
We have a chance to reset the clock and build back better than before.
To build back better than before.
Remember the terrible damage of COVID as we try to build back from this global pandemic.
Joe Biden calls it build back better.
Build back better.
Building back better.
To do things differently. To build back better.
We're going to build it back better.
And build it back better.
It's my plan to build back better.
Start taking all the problems that have been created in education and mental health and start to build back in a positive way.
I have launched a booklet called Build Back Better, Britain After Coronavirus.
It's about building this country back better.
Growing conspiracy following it. It is called the Great Reset.
An unprecedented opportunity to rethink and reset the ways in which we live.
The great opportunity for reset.
The theory even calls Mr. Biden's campaign slogan, Build Back Better, a front for the conspiracy.
Build back better.
Building back better our economy.
Build back better.
All elements of the Great Reset are fundamental to building the future we need.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset.
It's a big effort to, some would say, to build back better. We would say to really have a great reset.
Conspiracy, conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy, as I did even share on the broadcast last week, because these media liars would have you believe that this is a conspiracy. And that's what I like about this video I just played, because it's the most wide open, out in the open conspiracy to ever hit planet Earth. Everyone's talking about it. All the elites are talking about it. It's their agenda and it's their goal, because in its most simplest, basic bottom line explanation. The Great Reset is about making you totally subservient and dependent on world government. And folks, I'm going to tell you, our elected officials, and you saw them, the Clintons, Barack Obama, as I've been sharing on the broadcast this past couple of weeks, John Kerry, who's now Biden's climate czar, and if you really can say the go-between, the envoy, the ambassador for the World Economic Forum to the World Economic Forum. And our elected officials at all levels, my friends, at all levels, have sold us up a creek. They are selling us up a creek for a socialist, globalist ideology, and it's all for the self-gain. Make no doubt about it. They're all billionaires and millionaires. It's for their self-gain to control you and me, as I said. And I think perhaps people would fight this more if they understood. If people understood that they, and I think they are beginning to, that they're going to lose their business, that we could lose our homes, because the Great Reset fundamentally is socialism and communism on steroids. They don't believe in private property. I'll get into some of that in a few minutes. It's really, really a repackaged communist agenda. And you can just read all about it, folks, on the World Economic Forum website. It's all there. And we need to stand up and we need to expose it. And when I say stand up and expose it, not to sound defeatist, how do I put this? We're not going to stop it. We need to expose it and let people be warned about it so they could prepare themselves. When I say we need to expose it, it's not for the sake of, in the sense of that we're going to stop it. We're not going to stop it because it's biblical prophecy that these things must come to pass. These things will come to pass. We're not going to stop the things in the eschatological framework any more than we're going to stop, or that the devil's going to stop. I'd probably be better off saying Jesus coming back. It's going to happen. But we need to warn people, to tell people this is what's happening. This is what's going on in the world. Get ready. Get spiritually ready, first and foremost. Get ready, for we're in the last days. And God's going to use all of these things to bring about his plans and his purposes and to ultimately judge the earth in the time of the Great Tribulation. So when I say warn people and expose it, you got to understand it's not from a perspective of like we're going to stop it, because we're not going to stop it. But having said that, I think it's pretty laughable when you hear these media people saying, it's a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy theory. It's really laughable when you hear them say that. When again, you can see it it's all over the place. It's the entire World Economic Forum's website is pretty much 95% given over to all the writings and all of the plans for the Great Reset. Excuse me. And the media is just so intellectually dishonest, and they engage in journalistic malpractice, and we need to call them out. We need to consistently, forcibly call them out. And when I say forcibly, I'm not saying we need to go beat anybody up. Don't misunderstand me. You got to be so clear with language these days. But when you say, when they try to gaslight us, when they keep trying to lie to us, when we can, see what's going on, and they're saying, no, that's not what's going on. We need to push back, and we need not to be afraid to push back, because it's really getting ramped up a lot. It really is, folks. Let me share with you the promo. This video I'm going to play now is the promo on the World Economic Forum's website. What the media keeps claiming is a conspiracy theory. Either you people in the media are really, really stupid, or you're pretending to be really, really stupid. But this is the grand advertisement. I believe it was on the very first page when you go over to the World Economic Forum's website. Check it out. Whoops, got to turn the mute back off, or Ron off. Turn the mute off so you can hear me. But there you have it, folks. Right from the horse's mouth, so to speak. You know, these blind, lying, duplicitous so-called journalists in the media, the Pied Pipers of the media, the deceived political pundits. I can't tell you how much contempt I have for these people. I'm sure it shows. The blind leaders of the blind, leading people into an abyss called hell. Jesus said when the blind leads the blind, they both fall in a ditch. I think, well, you get the picture. The blind leading the blind, they're both going to fall into an abyss called hell if they don't repent. Because the stupidity and the willfully blind. The New York Times back, I think it was, I don't remember the date on it. I probably should open it up here. I've got the article here. I don't want to really read from the article, but you know what? Let me see if I can open this article up from the New York Times. I have it right in front of me. I have the link here. When did this article come out here in the New York Times? Because the New York Times says that the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory. But what's really funny about when this story in the New York Times came out, and you got to almost wonder if it really wasn't planned, perfectly planned gaslighting, because the very same day that the New York Times put this article out called The Great Reset is a Conspiracy Theory, on that very same day, the World Economic Forum was releasing press releases about it. Let me read some of this from the New York Times. I do have it in front of me. On the same day that the World Economic Forum heralded the Great Reset as a positive way to build future resilience to global risks, the New York Times declared the entire thing to be conspiracy theory. Yes, really. The New York Times was apparently upset that the Great Reset was trending on Twitter and published an article declaring it to be, quote, a baseless conspiracy theory about the coronavirus. I mean, hello? Every time these lying miscreants want to diminish or obfuscate the truth, they crawl into their parroting narrative of using these words, a baseless conspiracy theory. I don't think that means what you think it means, New York Times. I don't think that means what you think it means, CNN, MSNBC. A baseless conspiracy. When all these people, and I shared on this on my broadcast, I won't reiterate that, but everyone involved, John Kerry, Klaus Schwab, have all said, Guterres, the head of the UN, Tedros Ghebreyesus of the WHO have all said publicly that the coronavirus was the catalyst to speed up the Great Reset. Yet, the New York Times, in the audacity of its own hypocrisy, puts out a report saying and calling it a conspiracy theory. The New York Times report calls it an unfounded rumor. Well, maybe it's unfounded to you, whoever wrote this. Who wrote this article? Unfounded. It's really easy to find. Type in www.wef.com or just Google World Economic Forum, and you'll find it. An unfounded rumor. I can't help but laugh. These people are such liars. But it's the New York Times. This is the newspaper of renown. Pathological propagandist liars. The New York Times report calls it an unfounded rumor that elites are using the pandemic to impose their global economic control on the masses. Okay, well, it's unbelievable. And I've covered this before, and I just want to, kind of like I said, just kind of reiterate some of this stuff. Because I guess the New York Times forgot that it was, in fact, Antonio Guterres who wrote an op-ed where? In the New York Times, where he said this. And he wrote this op-ed before the New York Times claimed that this Great Reset was a conspiracy theory. Guterres, in their very own newspaper, said this, and I quote, "Addressing climate change and COVID-19 simultaneously and at enough scale requires a response stronger than any seen before to safeguard lives and livelihoods. A recovery from the coronavirus crisis must not take us back to where we were last summer. It is an opportunity." His words, not mine. "It is an opportunity to build more sustainable, inclusive economies and societies, a more resilient and prosperous world." Right on the front page of the World Economic Forum's website is this statement, quote, "There is an urgent need for global stakeholders. I shared in my 2 weeks ago on the first broadcast that I did for this Great Reset series that I've been doing on Open Up the Doors on Faith FM. I shared a little bit about what stakeholder capitalism is. I'm going to look at that a little bit more on tomorrow's broadcast. By the way, Open Up the Doors tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Faith FM. I will be continuing with this topic of the Great Reset. But let me get back to the quote from there, right on the front page of their website. "There is an urgent need for global stakeholders to cooperate in simultaneously managing the direct consequences of the COVID-19 crisis to improve the state of the world." But the New York Times said it was a conspiracy to control the world, to navigate, to facilitate, to whatever word they want to use. Well, the World Economic Forum is calling it to improve the state of the world, according to them. The World Economic Forum is starting the Great Reset Initiative. And yet the lying fools of the New York Times tells its readers it's a right-wing conspiracy hoax. Believe it or not, you can even look this up in Wikipedia. Wikipedia calls the Great Reset a conspiracy theory. I took a couple of things out of Wikipedia, a couple of pull quotes. Again, the go-to line here on Wikipedia, quote, "The conspiracy," according to Wikipedia, the Great Reset is, quote, "the conspiracy theory which lacks sufficient and reliable evidence," You almost don't know what to say. It lacks sufficient and reliable evidence. There are hundreds of quotations and articles. The World Economic Forum has put out pamphlets, dozens and dozens of pamphlets explaining exactly what it is they're looking to do. And yet Wikipedia says it lacks sufficient and reliable evidence. And it's like, I've said this already. Every time these leftists want to control a narrative or lie about what's really going on, that's their go-to, language. It lacks evidence. There's no evidence. It's baseless claims. Wikipedia says there are flaws in the conspiracy theory, and it lists some of the flaws, except I've addressed some of this already, by the way, on Open Up the Doors. But to supplement that, because that's what this video is all about, a Great Reset supplemental, Wikipedia says flaws with the conspiracy theory include that the World Economic Forum lacks authority to tell countries what to do. I talked about this last week, specifically for this reason. Hello? Yeah, that's right. They're right. The World Economic Forum lacks authority to tell countries what to do. But as I shared last week, that's exactly why it's being coordinated with the UN's 2030 agenda. And that is why the UN will be given more and more authority and clout by this new Biden administration, which has already begun to happen. I've shared with you the last couple of weeks several quotes from John Kerry. By the way, just today, a report came out that Michael Bloomberg has been appointed to be the global ambassador. Like that terminology? Michael Bloomberg has been anointed and appointed by Tedros Ghebreyesus, trying to say his name correctly. Tedros Ghebreyesus, the head of the WHO, has anointed Michael Bloomberg to be the global ambassador for the World Health Organization. What a perfect fit. What a perfect fit. One propagandist going out to campaign for propaganda for the WHO, which is putting out propaganda, by the way, of communist China. I mean, this is almost becoming like a novel. You could even write. I mean, I guess you could write this into a novel, but this is a real life novel with real life characters going on. If you wanted to write a novel about conspiracy theories, just look to reality. Wikipedia just keeps lining up their ducks, though, to try and say it's a conspiracy theory. Wikipedia says, quote, proponents of the conspiracy theory claim that politicians planned the COVID-19 pandemic and that they have formed a secret cabal, or that they are using the COVID-19 pandemic to destroy the global market-based economy. Now, as I've shared in the past, I certainly do believe there is overwhelming evidence that is exactly what China did. And more evidence is coming out. And I've been saying that since day one. I mean, from day one, when we first heard about the coronavirus infecting China back in last January, a year ago, and that it was, they were saying it was in the Wuhan market, and it was spread because they were having the Chinese New Year festivities going on. But they also reported that in those first reports that Wuhan was the site of one of the world's largest biochemical labs in the world. Well, listen, folks, it's just common sense. The moment I heard that, I'm not a genius, far from being a genius, but from the very moment I heard that this lab was in Wuhan, and that's where the coronavirus was infecting all these people, it was just like, hello, 1 + 1 = 2. The virus came from the lab. Now the theory was, well, was it an accident? And that's still a back and forth. Was it an accident? Was it done on purpose? people are saying, well, it was an accident. I felt, my opinion, it was done on purpose from the get-go. It was done on purpose from the get-go. And again, there's more and more, we're into this now 12, 13, 14 months. There's more and more evidence coming out for those who are paying attention that it was done on purpose. And at the very, very least, even if the virus got out of that lab by accident, air quotes, Xi Jinping closed down China so it wouldn't spread in China, but he let and allowed, and I've been telling you this since last February, millions of people to fly out of China into the rest of the world, while he already knew about the virus and while he had already closed down China. So if that is not being something that was done on purpose, I don't know what planet you're living on. I don't know what rock you're living under. Yes, it's not a conspiracy. Xi Jinping did that. That is a fact. So again, Wikipedia tries to say these baseless claims. But folks, again, the quotes are too numerous. The quotes are too numerous that they are in crisis management mode. They've got to act now. We've got to act now. I played all this last week. Klaus Schwab, we need a great reset. Now is the historical time, the historical moment in time. But those of us who are talking about this, we're being called conspiracy theory nuts, something I definitely am not. I'm one of the most skeptical people, and people send me videos all the time. Those of you who know me well, you know every time I get a video, I try and vet it the best I can. I'm not God. I don't know everything. Some things can be very, very true, but a lot of stuff out there is really, really wacky. So I just have a very, very naturally built-in skepticism. I've said for time immemorial, well, I shouldn't say time immemorial, that's an exaggeration. That was hyperbole. I've only been on Faith FM for 6 years, so it hasn't been from time immemorial. But for the last 6 years I've been on Faith FM, I have said time and time again, open up the doors is a conspiracy-free zone. I'm not going to run with every Looney Tune conspiracy thing that's out there for a lot of reasons. One, they're wrong. Two, I really want to guard my integrity. I want to bring you facts to the best that I can know the facts. I want to bring you truth as a radio host, as a Christian, as a pastor, as a minister of the gospel. I put a high premium on truth. And I need to guard my integrity because I take it very seriously. I just want to share that because that's how I feel about why I am so skeptical on so many of these videos I get, different conspiracy theories and stuff. And listen, again, some of it might be true, but I can't run with that stuff unless I really, really, really feel that there's some real valid evidence for it. Now, when it comes to the Great Reset, obviously, we've got loads and loads and loads of valid evidence for it. But I am going to right now, I'm just going to look through my comment stream here on YouTube. I haven't been really watching the comment stream, see if there's anything there. I agree with you, Miss Whitmer. I am sick of these masks and the whole thing. No doubt about it. But people have been, we've talked about that many times, people have been conditioned to do it. And I think even after, if they ever officially claim, I'm not even sure they're going to do that, but even if they ever officially claim that the pandemic is over, even though the pandemic actually is over, they're just not going to say it's over. They're just going to keep milking it because it's useful for their agenda. But let's say hypothetically tomorrow they said, oh, great, pandemic's over. You don't have to wear masks. I'm afraid to tell you that I bet you all of these businesses and everything, they're still going to impose masks in these businesses. You know why? In large measure, they don't want to get sued. They just don't want some lunatic suing them. And, it's just an awful state of affairs. Anyway, so, that kind of digresses a little bit with the mask thing. But again, I'm not going to be long here. I do want to just play a couple of more videos before I bail out of here. But I wanted to bring you a couple of things. Here's something. Tomorrow on my broadcast, I'm going to... I'm not going to play this tomorrow because really it's it's visual. I don't think there's any narration in this video, but I want you to see it. I'm going to touch upon a couple of these points tomorrow in tomorrow's broadcast on Faith FM. Tomorrow's broadcast is going to be titled The Great Reset Convergence. And what I'm going to attempt to do tomorrow is explain to you how all these different things are being connected. There's the Great Reset calls it a multilateralism. Putin and Xi Jinping have been calling it a multipolar world order for years now. And I've talked about that in the past. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more tomorrow because I want to try and show you how there are different facets to this. And sometimes it might look like, well, this looks like it's in opposition to this. I don't see how this is going to work together with this, but it will. And I'll explain that tomorrow. But I'm going to play this video here right now. And if you're watching on YouTube, check out this video. This came off the World Economic Forum's website. And I am going to talk over this video. I think. Maybe I won't. Just watch it. The Great Reset's 8 predictions for their Agenda 2030. Remember, it's not going to happen overnight, but it is an agenda that they're working towards to, Agenda 2030. And there's 9 years left now to 2030. It's interesting how John Kerry the other day said, we've only got 9 years left before we've hit a point of no return regarding climate change, which is absurd, of course. There is time left, folks. We are heading into a time called the Great Tribulation. I don't know when that's going to begin. I think it's going to begin soon, personally. I think there's going to be some major catastrophic events that are going to happen that will usher in the Great Tribulation. But I won't go into that now. I will be digressing a lot. But I did want to share a couple of these things with you. I'm going to sign off now. But we have hope. Our hope is in Jesus. Me sharing this stuff with you is not to be wrong. It would be wrong to think it's about fear-mongering or it's about doom and gloom. No, it's about recognizing the signs of the times as Jesus told us to do. It's about being aware of what's going on as Jesus told us to do. But the bottom line is this: we do have our hope in the Word of God, our hope in Jesus Christ. If you are a born again, saved, and washed by the blood of Jesus Christ, believer, born again. Someone once asked D.L. Moody, who used to preach being born again all the time, someone asked D.L. Moody, why do you keep preaching, you must be born again, you must be born again? D.L. Moody said, because you must be born again. The Bible says to be saved from this perverse and wicked generation. The only way to be saved is to put our faith and trust in Jesus Christ. Because the Bible tells us that in the last days there will be terrible times times that Jesus said, times that have never happened on earth before. But our hope can be in him. And I want to just end this brief supplemental, open up the doors with this, that we do have a hope. Check out this video.
There's a new